So I wanted to make this little video about, how I have transformed my life from one of um, really functioning from the ego, from the programmed self, from the mind matrix, from the imprisonment of the ego, to one of moving from the soul, of living and creating a life from the soul. And I've done that through um, certain energetics that I've used within my life that I've brought front and center into my awareness. What is your awareness? What's your consciousness? As soon as you start to become aware, so the first one is observation. I've observed every single interaction within my life. Every time I'm in an interaction with friends, with family, with at work, every single day gives us an opportunity to be in observation, to observe how we interact with people, and to observe those interactions in a way that, in a way of curiosity, right? Curious as to how I perhaps show up in them interactions, how I respond in those experiences. Do I respond from a place of where I'm just responding, right? I'm just responding from a place of ego, or am I responding from a place of love? Because a place of love is from the soul. When we're responding from a place of love, we're coming from the soul perspective, we're coming from the source perspective. When we're responding from a place of ego, often we're going to be defensive, we're going to get angry, we're going to start blaming, we're going to start judging, criticizing the self and others, right? So when I say all these, we're doing it to ourselves and we're doing it to others. When we are acting like that in any of our interactions, then we are coming from the egoic mind. Now, in this observation mode that I've been in all my life, it's not that I've always acted from the soul, right? But I've observed, I acted from my ego, then I got defensive, and I've been curious, why did I get defensive? What did it trigger within me? How did it make me feel? Why did it make me feel like that? Now, I haven't always fully understand all of those answers, but what I have understood is the second thing that I've always worked with in my life, and that is responsibility. I've always known, even though no one's ever really taught me that per se, but I've always known I am 100% responsible for myself. It's not my parents. Yes, we go through things as we're growing up, and it is creating wounds within us. Why? Because our parents carry those wounds as well, and they project them onto us because they haven't healed them wounds. So we as children take on those wounds, and those wounds do shape some of the experiences that we have. But it's only shaping them for us to heal those wounds, for us to be the ones that sees them, takes responsibility, and heals them, realizing it's not for our parents to heal them for us. They cannot heal them for us. We have to be the ones that heal them. So always take responsibility. So I'll just give an example of how that looks, right? Because I started to notice when I was growing up that not everybody did that or felt the same. So I was in a relationship in my early 20s, and it was a really emotionally abusive relationship. And the relationship, it was quite short-lived, 18 months, but all my friends will tell you it felt like a lot longer because it was so up and down, like a roller coaster of emotions. So much mental abuse took place within that relationship. And whilst, I got angry and I got upset and I got all these things, and I was on that emotional roller coaster, I started to realize that it was up to me to change. I knew it was my responsibility. I didn't blame the other person. Yeah, of course we tried to work it out, but when I realized that wasn't going to happen, I realized that no matter how much I came at this with love, compassion, with reasonability, that I wasn't being heard. So I knew that it was up to me to take myself out of that situation, to love myself so much and show myself that I mattered, that I was important, because I would only put up with something like that, right, if I believed that I wasn't enough, if I believed that I wasn't lovable, that I deserved to be treated that way. But I knew that wasn't the truth. Even though I felt it, I felt unworthy, I felt my self-esteem being eroded during that relationship. And because I loved that person, I put up with it probably for longer than what I should have done, really. But I had to learn, right? Sometimes we have to learn the hard way. Sometimes it has to get to a point where we realize, whoa, what am I doing? But I took responsibility for that. So I observed myself in those interactions, and I started to observe how no matter which way I played it, it really made no difference. Why? Because that other soul was there to teach me a lesson. That other soul was contracted within my life to teach me self-respect, to teach me self-honoring, to teach me to love myself. And it did do that, because I started to be like, hey, I'm not putting up with this. I'm worth more than that. Where I see people that will put up with that for 10, 20, 30, 40 years because they never believe that of themselves, and they don't observe, and they don't feel that they have responsibility for their own lives. So I started to realize that it was up to me to change that situation. So I've always taken responsibility. When I moved out of that relationship, and I did my healing, and it didn't just all happen at once, right? It's been a journey of healing. But did I look back on that relationship and blame the other person and say they were just so toxic and they were just so wrong? No, I didn't, because I know that's not the truth, because I know that they are a soul and that they carry wounds as well, and they were also projecting wounds onto me. I know that it's a lot more complex than that. So because I took responsibility and realized it was my responsibility, if I stay in that relationship, I am saying I agree with this behavior, because I am doing that by staying in the relationship. I might be saying I don't want you to do that, but our words are meaningless if our actions do not align with our words, right? So that takes me into the next one, integrity. I started to learn what it meant to be in integrity, and that is about aligning our words with our actions, with our energy. So I realized that not only through observing myself in these interactions, that I was responsible, because if I'm feeding that energy, an energy cannot continue to be unless it's being fed, unless it has something that is feeding it. So as I decided, well, I'm not going to feed that anymore, I'm going to take my energy and I'm going to take it out of that. I'm going to put my energy into things that actually make me feel good, that actually grow my soul. And anyway, it did grow my soul, right? It taught me so many things. So I look back on that relationship with gratitude, with thanks. I learned so much through it, and I don't blame the other person, because I take 100% responsibility for the self. Well, in that, I am automatically forgiving myself and forgiving the other. And forgiveness is so important for us to bring back sovereignty back into our energy fields. Forgiveness does not mean we condone bad behavior. No, it doesn't. But it means that we let it go. It means that we stop holding on to it. We realize that it's not us, that it was an experience that on some level, whether we are conscious of it or not, we chose to be in. We chose to experience so that our soul could grow and expand in certain ways, and we don't always know what that is in the now moment. So in taking responsibility for my part within that, then I automatically forgive myself and forgive the others. I didn't drag it with me years and years and years after the event. Did it all happen at once? No, because I had healing to do. But even when I was going through the pain of the separation, because it was painful for me, because I loved the other person, I didn't leave that person because I didn't love them. I left them because I loved myself more, because I realized I was worth more, because I realized I was not meant to stay in this relationship. It had served its purpose, but it was painful still for me. But even in that pain, I held that awareness. I didn't project it on to the other. So observation, responsibility moves us into forgiveness as well, and integrity. I started to realize that if I want something, if I'm saying this is how I want to be treated this way, then it's up to me to treat myself that way. It's not up to another. Other people will treat you exactly how you allow them to treat you. They will mirror the energy that you mirror back to yourself. So if you're not treating yourself with love and respect, then it's very easy for someone else to do that to you, and they're acting as a mirror. Actually, they're doing a service to you, so you can see that and course correct through your observations. So I started to realize it was up to me to do that. but I had compassion for myself, right? So I always use compassion for myself and compassion for others, realizing again that we all carry these wounds, and often if we haven't healed these wounds, we project them onto another. So in that, I learned so much in that relationship. I know that the other also learned a lot through that as well, because I know that other person had been in other relationships that had lasted a hell of a lot longer because that person didn't believe that they had value or worth. So I knew that they learned a lot because I knew they lost a pure love. So that was their lesson to go through, right? And that's what we did for each other. So we've got observation, key. So you bring that into your life now. You want to revolutionize, change your life, and you deserve to do that. Start being in observation. Observe yourself in interactions. If you're not liking what's happening, ask yourself how you can take responsibility. How are you feeding this situation? How can you change that for it? What changes can you make so that you're not longer feeling it? What do you actually want? Move into integrity for yourself. If you want to be valued and you want to be loved, value yourself, love yourself, take yourself out of toxic situations, things that don't feed you for the better, and then let it go with compassion. Have compassion for yourself, forgive yourself for the part that you played in that. And then it's having a willingness, right? A willingness to continue to learn, grow, and expand. A willingness to just get back up off your feet, right? Get back up and keep going. That's what the soul does. The soul has courage. So courage is a massive one that I have used throughout my path. Courage. I've always used courage. There is so many things. My brother said to me yesterday, and this has kind of sparked this video really. We're kind of talking about things, and he said, like, he's finding it hard where he works, and I get it, because it's the conversations that go on there. They're just like, they're doing his head in, right? They're doing his head in. He can't handle it. He doesn't like where he works. It's not that he doesn't like the people. My brother's got a lot of compassion and love for other people. It's not that he doesn't like the people, but he doesn't like the consciousness, the energy, the conversations. It's doing his head in. He wants to talk about God. He wants to talk about these deep spiritual things. I totally get it. He wants to be talking with people that are waking up, that are realizing who they are. I get it. And he said to me, it's all right for you, Corinne, or something like that. You're around people that are awake. But I was like, well, yeah, I am, because I've done my work, because I've focused on moving myself forward. I haven't just woken up in this world, and it's because of the choices that I have made. It's because of the decisions that I have made. Your whole reality is a combination of your own choices and decisions. Now, that's not to say that people don't have more challenging aspects to work for as children. No, I totally understand that and appreciate that. But at the end of the day, we are not victims. Our soul meticulously plans the body that we are going to come into. Our soul meticulously plans the experiences that are going to give us the most growth, and those experiences are shaped to help us to connect to our light and start shining our light out. And we do that by following the heart, but it takes courage to follow the heart, because there's going to be shadows in the mind that tell you can't do that, you're not good enough. So you have to take, so I've used courage. There's been so many moments in my life where I felt inside so afraid, where I felt inside so small, but I've done it anyway, because I've known that I've been asked, that my soul's saying, you got to do this, Corinne. This is a challenge that you're facing. You just got to go through this challenge, because if you go through it, then you've gone through it, right? It doesn't have to keep coming round and around and around and around and again, and you're going to grow and you're going to expand. So I've used courage every step of the way. I've used courage, and every time I've used courage, I've stretched where I am. I've through courage, I've dissolved fears. And it's allowed me to keep step by step upgrading my life, upgrading it a little bit more, upgrading it a little bit more, upgrading it. I haven't done it all at once. So yes, I find myself in a place now where I'm calling in people that are vibrating at my level, that are awakening, that are on the awakening ascension path, because that is the path that I tread, and that is where my energy, so it's going to attract people on a similar vibration. So we have to take responsibility and realize that our lives are a absolute representation of the choices that we have made, and the sooner we accept that and acknowledge that, the sooner we start to make better choices for ourselves and take back our power. We empower ourselves by becoming responsible for the self. But it takes courage to do that. There's been times on my journey where I've not wanted to take responsibility, where I've absolutely felt, oh my God, this is so hard. This is so hard. I really found it difficult during 2020, when so many of my beliefs were being just shattered as I was waking up to this control system that was around us, that was purposely doing things to harm people. This was, call me naive, whatever. I was so shocked at this. I was like, whoa. And it really shattered a lot of beliefs inside me. And I felt a lot of anger and a lot of rage. And I had to go through a lot of healing during that point. And there were times in it where I was so trapped in things within my mind. And at this point, I was retraining in hypnotherapy. I understood how the mind worked, but still I found myself trapped in these mind loops. And I was like, oh my God, I know this is a mind loop. I feel like I can't get out of it. I knew I could. I just felt that it felt difficult. There were times when I just wanted someone to ride in and rescue me. We've all felt that. And we don't have to feel bad for feeling like that. That's totally fine. It just is what it is sometimes, right? But I knew, even though there were times when I felt like that, and I thought, please God, somebody just come in and save me, right? Save me from this mental prison. I knew that wasn't going to happen. I knew it was for me to do it. Why? Why does God not step in when we are feeling? It's not that God doesn't step in. God gives us signs, gives us synchronicities. Well, it's in our heart. God's showing us the way through our heart. It's just that we have to have the courage to follow it. But why is it? Well, think of it this way, because we are all the children of God. We are all God's children. We all come from source, right? So somewhere along the line, we all go back to source. And imagine having a child, right? Many of you might be watching this, you might have a child. Imagine having a child and the child's crawling along the floor, and then it gets up to walk and it falls down, and it gets up to walk and it falls down. Then it's like it's refusing to walk because it's just like, I can't do it, it's too hard. Mommy, help me, daddy, help me. And imagine as a parent, you walked for that child, you picked it up and you kept moving its legs, and you kept moving its legs, and the child could never learn to walk. It could never do it on its own. It would always just fall down and you'd pick it up. How does that serve the child? It does not serve anyone, and that's why we have to walk these paths ourselves. But we don't have to walk it alone, actually. We're still walking it with our team. We've got a team of angels around us and guides. We just have to start acknowledging that and start working with them. We're always being given signs and synchronicities as we open up to it. We follow our heart light. We use courage. We stretch. We take 100% responsibility for ourselves, and boom, we are flying. Our life is literally rearranging around us. So there is going to be times when we feel like that, and it's all right. We have compassion. Compassion is a huge energetic that is central to my life. I have compassion for myself. I work on not judging myself. I'm not perfect although to be honest with you, I say that, but I've let go of a lot of judgment now. I've been working on that. I've been focused on that for so long. I know I'm exactly where I need to be, and I know that I'm following my path, and I'm seeing that I'm feeling it more and more. The more I do it, the more it opens up, and I am moving into a sweet spot of life, a flow. I am moving into that genius flow, and it feels good, but it's not always been like that. I've had to make those steps I've had to walk over the bridge. We've got to walk over the bridge, right? We're in this 3D realm of suffering, and like all these consciousness viruses that are infected into the conscious, that are passed on from parent generation to generation. And someone's got to take responsibility. You start taking responsibility for yourself. You're starting to walk across that bridge to this magical place of flow and grace and ease, and being an embodiment of your soul, rather than being led by the ego. You're led by your soul. Your soul is guiding you, and your soul, it's courageous. Your soul has no fear. Your soul holds no doubts. It knows exactly why it came in this carnation. It knows exactly what it's here to do. It might not know. It actually does know. It knows everything. It's got your destiny planned, right? But as you're embodying your soul, it's not going to give you every piece straight away, but you're going to feel that empowerment of it, and you're going to know that you're treading the right path, or the highest path for you. But you've got to walk over that bridge, and only you can walk over it. Yes, You can use mentors, you can use teachers, for them to show you what they have learned, right? That's what I do with my clients. I've created this Reconnect program, which is my walking over the bridge, into flow and ease, into the real world, opening up, waking up again in the world of magic, which is the world that we really are a part of. And you can get week 1 free. So we walk over that bridge, and we can walk over that bridge hand in hand with each other, supporting each other, helping each other. And we just have to have compassion for the self, and compassion for others, and a willingness to take those steps, a willingness to move forward, a willingness to take responsibility, a willingness to use courage and be in our integrity, always observing, where am I out of alignment with integrity? Where can I make an adjustment? Being curious, why did I feel like I couldn't speak my truth? And speaking truth is not about trying to violate or harm another. No, it's just standing in your truth and integrity, and from a place of compassion and understanding that all creatures are part of creation and are sacred. So we need to speak to ourselves with that reverence, with that sacredness. And when we speak to ourselves that, we will speak to others that way as well. There's so many interactions on social media where people are just aggressive, where people are just belittling, shaming each other, and that is not treating people with sacredness. And you're doing that to other people, really that's a reflection of how you feel about the self. So have compassion, don't judge yourself, but realize it's your responsibility to heal those things. And we all have to look at those things. I had to look at those things at some points during 2020 where I felt like everything I was going through was somebody else's fault, right? Why can't you believe what I believe? Why can't you just wake up so that I can feel better? And I realized that's not truth. Like, we're all on our own path, and the only person that I can really the only person I really need to be looking at is myself. Where am I not in those energies that I want to see? I got to create that in my own life, and know that when I create that in my own life, it's going to ripple out and influence other people around me. But then it's up to them if they want to then meet me at that level. Determination. I've been absolutely determined and devoted to myself and to this journey, and that's just, again, it's like, you don't just, I haven't just got here and felt like this and in one night, in one day. I hadn't just done one thing. I hadn't just parroted these words. It's been a journey of reconnecting back to the true soul self, of being committed to myself, of being committed to daily actions that are aligned with my spirit, that put my spirit at the center of my life, that put source at the center of my life. And it's through doing that I've started to rearrange the bricks inside my body and then outside my body. And it's a continual journey, right? I'm not there, right? There's no there. We continue to expand in consciousness. So yeah, I wanted to make this video because I wanted to really encourage people and just talk about some of the energetics that I've used. I see these as little energetic bricks. And if we build with these bricks, if you build with the bricks of integrity, if you build your life with the bricks of responsibility, courage, devotion, determination, compassion, non-judgment, acceptance, willingness, if you build with those bricks, love, if you build with those bricks, you're going to create a life, you're going to create a temple that you want to live in, that you want to be a part of. It's up to us to decide. Or we can build with victimhood. We can build with powerlessness. We can build with anxiety. We can build with stress. We can build with all of these bricks as well. But that is the reality that we will live in. We get to choose. This is the world we're in. It's a world of choice. So what do you choose?